Hi, welcome back to my channel. I've missed you guys. It's been so long because it's just been a long time. You know, I don't do excuses. Um, it's just been a while. But I got a lot to say these days. So um I'm not even gonna say what I'm gonna do. Y'all just will see the consistency. I'm not gonna talk about it, I'm just gonna be about it. I will be more consistent. So welcome back. As you see in the title, I promised a disclosure video last year. So I'm gonna talk about disclosure um, today. And I'm also going to just give y'all some updates about whatever I got going on over here. So let's start with some updates. So first I wanted to say the biggest update that you'll notice on my channel, and I had already kind of started incorporating it, but something that you'll notice is that I am going to include God and Jesus a lot more because they are the head of my life, and no longer will I exclude them from any area. And if you have my book, you read, I talk about God and everything, but something that I learned is that after I wrote the book, I didn't really consult him about how to promote the book. How do you want me to do this? I kind of left him because I thought that that's all I needed him for, but we need God in everything. So I will talk more about that. These videos will stay consistently about, you know, my life, mainly about HIV. I think I'm gonna stick to the HIV topic on this channel to go along with my Nikki J brand, because I have a lot of exciting products coming out and things like that. So that's the first thing I wanted to tell you. And the second update I have is that I finally got myself together and I'm coming out with a journal. I'm so excited. So I don't have a physical copy of the journal yet. I'm getting everything uploaded to go to Amazon, and so my goal is to have it out about around Valentine's Day, so it can be like a self-care kit. It'll come with a book, a journal, a pen, and a nice packaging. Oh, it's gonna be so amazing. I've been working on this for a couple of months now, and I finally have to go ahead and put it out to the world. So, and I'll also be doing some videos about different ways to design your plan. I don't know if anybody does like journaling and planning and things like that. This journal will be more of a space for you to track your habits, talk about your goals, what you're grateful for, your prayers, and just a plan for every day. And it's not one where you just have blank lines to write all this kind of stuff. It'll just keep you kind of organized for the day, where you can just share your thoughts, your moods, and you can keep track of it and things like that. So you guys will see I will be doing more videos about that. That's not the topic of this video. I just wanted to give you some updates. So I didn't want to wait too long to get into the topic, because this is an education video, so I want to stay on topic because this ain't a talking video. So the topic today is disclosure. When I did I have HIV What Now video, I'll include the link down below. I'll link it to this video. Something that was big was disclosure, and I just didn't have enough time to put it in that video. And I felt like disclosure is such a big thing when we think about HIV that I needed to actually do a separate video about it, because that has been in the beginning when I was first diagnosed, it has been very hard for me, because sometimes we think about disclosing our status as something you got to tell a partner or something like that, but you have to tell sometimes you might want to tell your mother, your friends, your employers. And it's just, there are some really great tips out there on the internet, so I will actually link some good sites where I got some of this information from, and then I'll also talk about some strategies that I currently use or have used in the past. So I want to say that I am a medical professional, but I'm not your medical professional. I am a nurse. So some of these things I do have knowledge as well, but these are just tips. These are not all be all, and I can't guarantee any outcome. We can never guarantee outcomes, but these strategies work. I've used them myself. I've seen other people use them, and a lot of these strategies I got from the internet, from good reputable sites. So these are things that have been proven to work. These are not just what I think. So we'll go from there. So so disclosure. So first let's talk about what that is. Disclosure is a person telling somebody else about their HIV status. That's what disclosure is. Just you telling somebody that you are living with the HIV. This is a very personal decision to tell or to not to tell. Now, there are times where you have to tell, but in other times it's a very, very personal decision. So we have to go from there. So first thing I want to say is you have to be selective. You have to be selective. Everybody does not have to know your HIV status. because everybody's heart just is not right. Some people want to know to be nosy. Some people will take your information. I gotta turn this light a little bit. Sorry. Some people will take your information to just tell other people because they're not. It's not. It's their heart's not right, and it's okay. And you will sometimes you will make the mistake of telling somebody. Maybe you've seen what it was like, and it makes it hard for you to tell somebody else. But we can't be stuck in that because we it's not good for you to isolate yourself. It's just not good. It leads to more harm than good. Isolation is just not good when you have something like HIV. So you have to be selective. Be very selective. It's a personal decision. Some things to consider when you do your HIV, when you do disclose your status is who are you telling, what are you telling them, and what do you expect about telling them, when you want to tell, where you want to tell, why you want to tell. Like the 405, who, what, when, where, and why. Why do you want to tell these people your status? You really need to think through that. The reasoning, where, when, because some situations, the where is very important and the how is very important. Some situations it may not matter, but it's a personal decision to tell anybody your HIV status. So you need to say, why do you want to tell this person? Like, for example, I told my mother a long time ago. Why I told my mother is because somebody strongly suggested that I tell her because it's fair that she knows. If it was up to me, I would have waited to tell her when I was at a better place emotionally. But I did tell her, and I'm not mad that I told her. But I would have did it a little differently. I would have maybe considered a counseling session because how I was received when I told her I didn't like it, and it really set me on a bad course. And if you have my book, you can see it. I was very candid and honest about that. I love my mother to death, but you cannot give what you don't have. And at that time, I was 19. She didn't understand. She didn't understand what it really was. She didn't understand a lot of things. Like, she knows more now, but then she didn't know. So, and I mean, I took it wrong because you look at your mother and you look at them like they are like more wisdom than you, they're smarter than you, they should be able to handle it if you can handle it, but they can't handle what you can handle. Like, that's what I learned in that process. So I would have really considered a different place to tell her. Not saying that I would not have told her, a different place, and that relates to the where. And my reasoning for why telling her, I really did not have a real reason why I was telling her, because the people who I know would support me in this were already supporting me before I told her. So I didn't have a really good reason why, but at the end of the day, I don't regret doing that. But it could have went a bad way because at that time, I'm 19 years old. I'm just a rebellious little 19-year-old girl. So it just wasn't, to me, at the best time. I would be more apt to tell her maybe a couple of years later, before I told the world, of course, but where I could receive anything that she had to say and then not let her voice be so loud in the decisions that I made going forward. So that was a big lesson for me about telling my mother. Another tip is easy does it. Take your time and make sure you have a real purpose for telling people. You can take your time with this. If it's somebody that you want to tell and you're not prepared to tell them yet, think about the person. Think about, are they somebody who's overreactive? There's somebody who it may be a situation where it could just not be a good thing for them. And if that's the case, you just have to consider why you're telling them. So easy does it. Take your time. I want you to relax when you tell them. If you are still fearful of yourself, if you have not got to a place of almost kind of accepting it, this may not be something easy for you to do. It may not be the right time for you to tell somebody, even though you really want to. You have to go and seek some type of healing for yourself. You have to go and get yourself some type of help where you can get to a place where you can tell them what's going on with you. So easy does it. Now these situations that I've talked about before now are when it's optional to tell somebody. It's imperative and legally you have to tell somebody that you are wanting to have sex with. It's against the law in most states, at least 24 states, to have sex with somebody and not tell them. Whether we disagree or agree with the law is the law. Whether you're undetectable or not, the law is the law. So at this moment, you have to tell. Even if you if you put the condoms on, you ain't been detectable in years, all that kind of stuff. you still have to tell them, because you could still actually get in trouble even if they don't get it. So I just want y'all to be very wary of that and know that you have to tell people about your status, and it's only fair, because I'm somebody like, yes, the person who gave it to me, I strongly believe that he knew that he had it, and I have my reasons for why. I really do believe that he knew, but I'm not going to be like him and not tell people. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm a saint, but I'm not going to be like him and not tell people that I'm, having sex with. It's just not right. So I will do what's necessary. Um, so you have to tell people that you want to have sex with. Now, dating and having sexual relationships is different. And I'm not saying you meet somebody on a Monday, you got to tell them on Tuesday before you take you on a date. That's not necessarily necessary. So I have some tips for dating. So I'm just looking at my notes. I'm doing very good about staying in the camera, you guys, but just bear with me as I look at my notes and things like that. So just bear with me. Dating, keep it simple. Just like I said, keep it simple, keep it to the point. This is, hi, I want to tell you something important. I was diagnosed with HIV. So let them know that it's a serious conversation. Keep it simple, but let them know that it's a serious conversation. And don't come with a pity party attitude. Don't come with the attitude of, I just want your support, because you'll get what you're looking for. So make sure you come with high confidence. Like, this is my status. I've accepted it, and be prepared for whatever. You hear me? You might get somebody to get mad. They may stop talking to you for a while, but you have to be prepared. I would say hope for the best and expect the worst. Hope that they will, because you've gotten to a place where you wanted to tell them. Obviously, it's something about them that you like. Obviously, the connection is real. You have to trust your own judgment. So obviously you have good judgment, and you've decided this is somebody that I may want to develop more than just talking or friendship with. I might want to go to the next level with this person. So you want to tell them. I say don't tell on the first date. And I'm going to tell you why. My opinion, you tell somebody on the first date, number one, you don't even know them. Number two, they don't know you. And number three, they walk around with your information and you don't even know if you like them. Because I used to be one of those people in the beginning, I'm just going to tell people, blah, blah, I'm just going to tell them, And I tell them, and then I realize I don't like them, and then I end up cutting them off. And so I didn't even have to tell them all of that about me. I could have just seen who they were and not tell them anything about me, on that level, because now you walking around with my information in your pocket, and you might see me on the street and be like, oh yeah, she got, you know what I'm saying? Then that's a whole nother situation. And was not my intent for telling you. I was telling you because I wanted to date you more than what we were already doing. So, you just have to, be mindful. I just disagree with telling on the first date, because sometimes it's anxiety that's making you tell, and you'll regret that later. So make sure that you really are wanting to tell this person. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that that's what you really want to do. And if they respond negatively, just know that one person in a world of billions of people, you hear me? That is one person. Do not let one person determine your ability to tell somebody else, because just because you got one no don't mean that everybody's going to continue to tell you no. And one thing that I firmly believe about HIV, it has been a gatekeeper for me, because people who just want to have sex with me, or people who oh, you just cute, whatever, if they don't really like me for real, they run away. And it's I'm okay with that, because you weeded yourself out of a situation, because I could have failed for your mess, but I did. So the next tip is give them time to process. You have to give them time, because this is new information. You needed to process, they have to process. So just because they ask for time, that does not necessarily mean they're rejecting you. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just means exactly what it is. Sometimes we feed and we overthink stuff. We just have to give them time to process. This is new information. This is new. So we have to give them time for process. Give them time to process, okay? Okay, so I want to talk about having a significant other. So let's just say you've been with somebody for a while. You find out you have HIV. And you have to go back and say, hey, I know we've been having sex, but I've been diagnosed with HIV. When you go and tell them, you have to make sure you give the full picture and the whole story. Make sure you let them know you didn't know this, you didn't know about this. Let them know that it does not mean that they necessarily have it. They need to go get tested and checked out. And then you just have to let them decide what they want to decide. They could come back positive, they could come back negative, and then just tell them they got to go back in 3 months. And if you weren't using protection with them, you now have to start using protection with them. You know, like stuff might have to change. Um, and if you don't want to use protection, I ain't gonna speak on that because that's your personal business. Whether you use protection or not, that's your personal business. But just be wary that you can get other STDs. Like your immune system is not as strong as theirs. They could come in contact with it and give it to you and be fine. So I just want y'all to be aware and that you have to protect yourself. Like if you wasn't protecting yourself before, you really have to protect yourself now because you need to be more afraid of them than they are of you. Because if you have taken your medicine and you're undetectable, you can't transmit, but they can still give you stuff, and your immune system is not like their immune system. Um, so we have to just be careful and mindful. So if you weren't protecting yourself, the time is now to protect yourself because something that I'm big about, I don't ever want to find out I gave anybody this. I have it. I'm okay with it. I'm undetectable. I'm fine. But I don't want to pass this along to nobody because I didn't ask for it in the first place. So I just want us to all just get into a habit of protecting ourselves. So if you are somebody who's watching this video for some reason and you don't have HIV, use condoms. Protect yourself. It's really effective. Not sheepskin, latex, condoms. Okay. So I just want everybody just to protect themselves and be mindful. So when you tell your significant other, you have to tell them. So just take your time and relax. State the facts and just expect the worst. Like expect the worst, hope for the best. And if they love you and really care about you, no matter how much time it takes, that won't stop them from loving you. So I just want you to know that that won't stop them from loving you. It may feel like it's gonna stop them, but it won't. Okay. Another topic, and I believe the topic of employment, I will have to do another video on that. But when you have HIV, you are covered by the American Disabilities Act. You do not have to tell your employer. Now, if it's going to affect your work, you can get a letter saying that you have a chronic condition and it might affect your work. But you don't have to tell them directly, I have HIV, because it's protected because of stigma and things like that. And the thing about HIV, you can't get it from touching people. You can't get it for, take care of people. You can't get it. It's not that easy to transmit unless you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to be in contact with bodily fluids and they could possibly be in contact with your bodily fluids. So then at that point, that becomes a little bit different. So I just want you to do that. And if you do decide that you just want to tell your employer because you for safety reasons, like for me, for example, I have certain coworkers that I tell, but I tell them for safety reasons. So if something happens to me while I'm at work or, because anything could happen, I have somebody in place there to, vouch for me and speak on my behalf. And I know that they won't go tell people. Now, I have told some of my coworkers and it didn't go well, or they treated me differently and things like that. But I'm okay with that. Like because I'm confident in myself. Excuse me, that's my phone going off. I'm confident in myself. I've accepted my status, and if somebody else is not willing to accept it, that's not my business. That's their business. That's their opinion, and that's on them. Like if you don't want to be involved in me and this great life that I have, that God has given me, and this wonderful, this wonderful person I am, that's on you. That's not my problem, and that's okay because you make it easy for me to know who I don't need to be connected to. Because if you're going to judge me off of my HIV status, I don't want to be your friend in the first place. And that's just me being so honest. And I love you so much. I love you how God has called me to love all people. But we're not going to be friends no way, because if I can't, if that's how you feel about it, that's how you feel about it. So, but yeah, so that's about if you have to tell your employer. So, sis, I want y'all to remember, you're required to tell your sexual partners. Please don't go out here and have sex and don't tell them, because it's not right. It's just not right. So, my best advice is to tell them. I would say, like I said, avoid doing it on the first date. If you can, get to know them, make sure you like them first. You can do it on the second. I mean, it's your choice, however you feel, but really think about it. Be logical and don't be anxious about it. And then, yeah, that's it. And then understand your purpose. Why are you telling this person? Do you need to tell this person? Is it really going to help you? What's the purpose of it? Are you just telling them because you're anxious, or are you telling them because you need their support, or there's somebody who has been supportive of you and the things that you do? So, yeah, think about that. And, Also, in my book, I talk about disclosure. So I wanted to share some of the tips that's in my book here. And if you didn't know, I have a book. Where have you been? I have a book called Life After HIV: Removing the Mask. I just recently updated my website. So I'll put my website below. You can order your book, and I'll send you a pretty little bookmark. And if I can, I'll grab it and I'll sign it for you, because this is a it's a very helpful book. And I'm not just saying that because it's my book. I might be a little biased, but it's a very helpful book. So this is some of this stuff. These are some of the things that I felt were necessary. All the tips I've given so far, I've gotten them from pause.com to cdc.gov, and these are some of the tips that I suggest. Okay, disclosure tips when disclosing your status: be open and confident. State the facts. Be cautious about disclosing your status diagnosis when first meeting a person. Give them an opportunity to ask questions. Guard your heart and expect the unexpected. Now, I also want to leave a tips for when your friend or family member discloses. If somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, I want to disclose, like I want to tell you something," and they say I have HIV, I want you to listen. First thing is listen. Let them get their thoughts out before you react. Ask questions. Don't make assumptions. Get educated and find a way to deal with your emotions. That is the biggest one for me, because when I did my YouTube video, 2017, my family was upset with me. I could have found another way, but when you do something, you just have to accept the fact that you've already done it. And I didn't tell some of my family members because I got overwhelmed, because I kept on saying, I need to tell them. And then it was just too much. And I was like, forget it, I'm gonna do the video, and then whatever happens, happens. And I had a family member come to me and say, I wish you would have showed us first. I wish you would have gave us the video first before you did this, and all this kind of stuff. And he wanted me to be there for him emotionally. But I couldn't do that, because for me, it had been 10 years. For you, it had been 10 minutes. For you, you had only been knowing for 10 minutes. I had been knowing for 10 years. So I just couldn't emotionally be there for you. But he was able to find somebody to be there for him emotionally, to deal with it. So when he came at me, it wasn't so aggressive, and it wasn't so, why you didn't tell me? It was more of a place of love or wanting to understand. And now he can ask me questions and everything. And I'm very open to answer questions. But as somebody living with HIV, I don't have the capacity to be there for you emotionally about how you feel about my status. And it was a problem for me to an extent, because a lot of these people, they weren't supportive. I didn't feel like I got support of them as a regular person, and that's why I didn't tell them. So you have to be careful how you treat people, because you don't know what people are dealing with. But yeah, so you just have to be mindful how you treat your family members, because you never know when your family member is dealing something about HIV. You have to create a safe space, because isolation can be a killer for people living with HIV. I know people, well, I don't know them personally, but I've heard of situations of people isolating themselves and they're not telling anybody, and that's like a mental prison. So we have to get in a space where we can be open. And if you're somebody who does not have HIV, you're somebody who doesn't know anybody who has HIV, I just want you to educate yourself. It's nothing wrong with educating yourself on this type of thing, because we all need the education. And I'm doing the best I can, but I'm one person. That's just like Jesus. Jesus was one person. He only could do one thing at one time. So when he left, he gave us all the Holy Spirit so we could all be doing something. So I'm not somebody that feels like I'm the only person who can do this. You can do it too. It takes a village to really rid of the stigma and discrimination. You never know. Like, I don't know the people who watch this video. I don't know you. Maybe I do know you. I don't know you. But I know a lot of people who've read my book and meet me and say, because of you, I treat people differently, because I didn't know. So I just wanted you to say, I don't care who is why, because of God, because of your friend, your sister, your brother, your daddy, whoever. Just treat people fairly, because you don't know what they're dealing with. And there's so many people who have nobody to talk to. And then you wonder why suicide is so high. You wonder why depression and anxiety and mental illness is so high, because these people are literally trapped in their heads. So I want us just to be more mindful and just love on people. And if somebody is telling you their status, even if you don't agree, or you know that you couldn't date them or things like that, you got your own fears, it's okay to say, no, I appreciate you for telling me, but it's not something that I think I could handle. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about how you say it. Like, it's not right to be mean or nasty, because it takes a lot to share your status with somebody. So I just want you guys to be mindful today, Thank you for watching this video. It's kind of lengthy, but it's very good information. So if you got, come back and watch the video and do what you got to do. If you want to get my book, the website is below. Remember, I'm coming out with a journal very soon, and I'll do a separate video on that. And I love you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the comments, the good and the bad. And I'm in a place where I'm not going to respond to any more bad comments. So I appreciate you watching the video. If you are leaving a bad comment, and God be with you, because I didn't do this for you. I did this because God has told me to do it. And if I got to be the face and the voice to bring awareness and help people through this, I will do that. And for people, sometimes people say, well, what about people who don't have HIV? How you going to help us? Blah, 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 blah. Everybody has their niche. Everybody has everybody has the people that they're going to touch. It's a lot of other advocates. It's a lot of information. I do have a fan club on Facebook that I'm going to be pushing more prevention stuff into, just because I have a book and I feel like this book can be used as somewhat form of prevention, because I do have great tips in here. So I'm working. I'm doing the best that I can. I have a life. I'm a wife. I just became a full-time parent. That's a whole nother situation, but just bear with me. I'm doing the best that I can. And I just appreciate y'all love and support. Share this video if it could help somebody. If it helped you, just let me know and comment below. I will see you guys in the next video. I appreciate you so much, and God be with you. Bye.